Welcome to the AYS podcast. I am your host, Robbie, your favorite host, the best host, and today we're going to be talking about a history of advertising. Now, advertising is more interesting than you think. It's not just going into your local advertiser server Discord and posting an ad in the channel. No. We've got a history to look at. Modern advertising is much different than, ancient advertising back in the 1700s. Now, we're going to split this up into sort of ages. I'm going to call this first part the introduction to advertising. Now, this begins around the 1700s. It's obviously before digital stuff and really, printed ads and people, like by word of mouth advertising is really the only good way of advertising. Very boring, very tedious. Now, so what people would do is they would write on a poster, big fat poster, maybe a little bit splash color. Buy one, get one free. Come to my shop. They would stick that poster on the side of a building and call it a day. Or they would hire somebody to go stand out on the free corner and go, "Sir, ma'am, would you like to go check out the AYS shop? Shop.ays.gg. We offer plenty of products and services there." And then the newspaper business came along. Now, things kind of go slowly in this beginning age of advertisement because there's no really direct form of the mass media. However, newspaper, lots of people read newspaper. They want to hear what's going on. So now imagine you've got millions of people reading the newspaper. They flip the page, and at the top, in bold letters, "Mod Mail Bot for you" at shop.ays.gg. Now that's going to grab yourself a customer or two, right? So people started posting their advertisements in newspapers. However, it was a bit expensive. Being as though newspapers only have so much space in their newspapers, they charged a premium for this small little ad on a piece of paper. Which is why many companies didn't necessarily hook on to that idea. They would stick to more indirect signs. They would stick to more indirect forms of advertising, which would be considered posters and signs, and even some billboards. It's more of a subtle way of advertising rather than directly telling you, "Hey, buy my Mod Mail Bot." It would more be like, on the chance that you saw the poster, it would be, "We offer Mod Mail Bots." Now, if you can understand that, if you can wrap your head around that, the next section gets much more interesting. The age of advertising, the dawn of a new era, the beginning of the 20th century. Now, radio and televisions were invented, and that was huge. The first form of mass media was created to reach millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people. So many people listen to the radio, and so many people watch television. By the beginning of the 20th century, quick statistic for you, more than 30% of the world's population used radios. And companies started to jump on that. They'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Radio Station, I'm going to buy an ad slot." And the radio station went, "Sure, $250, you can have 30 seconds. And the company goes, "Yeah, all right." And then they develop their advertisement and they put it on there. Now, this kind of sparked a revolution. Companies, businesses, organizations, you name it, those people invested heavily in their advertisements to create a brand. Like, Chevrolet does today, or Coca-Cola. You all know those brands because of their advertising. So, even with the widespread popularity of TV and radio, advertising agencies and companies still kind of used offline advertising with newspapers and billboards. But what really sparked the whole internet age was, of course, the introduction of the internet. Now we're in the early 2000s, and the internet has taken a hold of our lives. Microsoft, Apple, phones, computers, these things start to become more accessible. And now people on websites can sell advertisement spots to companies. Now, the first actual online display ad was created in 1994 when advertising people created a banner ad, sort of, to try to get customers to their website pages. Now, these ads could be posted on YouTube ads. Those are pretty popular. You go to most websites and you'll see ads on the sides, maybe a big ad across the top. And then Yahoo comes along and they start selling advertisements on their search engine. And what actually happens is every click, every time someone presses that advertisement, Yahoo gets a small amount of money from the person that paid to put their ad on there. So now it's sort of like you're paying rent for an advertisement. And people make loads of money off of this stuff, like billions and billions of dollars. Although, even though nobody uses Yahoo anymore, bigger companies and corporations like Microsoft and Google have picked up the same stuff. It's all still going on today. Now, on comes the dawn of mobile phones. Now everybody's got the internet in their pocket, easily accessible, and can basically get it from anywhere, right? So now we've got advertising specifically targeted to people on mobile platforms. Now it's basically the same as advertising on the internet, right? You get an advertisement in your app store. You get advertisements on the apps themselves. You get advertisements everywhere. You get an advertisement walking into the store to buy your phone. Your phone will tell you when the new iPhones come out. Now, out of all of these things, now we have so many ways to advertise. How do you advertise? Are you taking advantage of all these ways, or are you just, copy and pasting your ad in a Discord channel? Now, of course, the exposure you get from copy and pasting your advertisement in a Discord channel is pretty neat. However, you do have to remember that the basis of advertising is to drive up profits. So you want to make a business that's profitable. Now, once you've gained that exposure, there's people joining. They start buying your products, right? Because you actually have products to sell, and now you've got a budget. Now you can start investing it slowly in advertisements. Now, AYS does offer some cheap beginners advertising plans, such as auto ads. You can purchase a DGE or a small servers team package, and those guys will help you out with advertising. In other advertising servers, you can purchase custom channels, and it's all relatively cheap. $5 a month on their Patreon page. Now, of course, if you're running yourself a business, I would highly suggest you do the research on your own. But Google does actually offer, you can buy ads from Google that go on YouTube. You can buy a Snapchat ad campaign. You can buy Instagram ad campaigns, Facebook ad campaigns. All these social media companies do offer advertisements for paid advertisements, of course. Now, with all that said, we didn't cover everything in this podcast because I don't have 6 hours to talk to you. So we do have a couple of sources to mention. We did get some information from Wikipedia. There's a nice history of advertising page. Go ahead and give a history of advertising a Google search, and Wikipedia will be one of the first things that pop up. We did use a Britannica.com page. I can't say the link to that because it's not 8,000 characters long. It's Britannica.com/topic/advertising, and they have a nice definition and some nice examples on there. With that said, I would like to thank you for joining us on today's episode of the AYS podcast. I highly suggest you go check out our advertising plans on shop.ays.gg, and I would highly suggest you check out that merch. The socks are really comfortable. Your feet will never be cold again. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Robbie, and I'll see you in the next one.